Remember when the Red Sox traded for Adelberto Mondesi? What happened to that guy? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and one of the biggest mysteries of the 2023 season has been a guy by the name of Adelberto Mondesi. Before the season started, during the 2023 offseason, there was a lot of conversations about Mondesi and what his impact on the Boston Red Sox could look like, but ever since the 2023 season started, it feels like we've heard absolutely nothing, and it's gotten to the point now where Red Sox Nation jokingly refers to Mondesi as a figment of our imagination, as a guy who doesn't really exist. The big questions here is what happened to Mondesi, right? Where has he been? Why has he not been able to rejoin the Red Sox? What does his injury look like? What is holding him back? And will we ever see Adelberto Mondesi in a Red Sox uniform? Those have been the biggest questions surrounding Mondesi and the 2023 Red Sox so far this year, and that's what we're going to try and answer today. We're going to try and answer all of those questions, give you guys a timeline of what's happened to Mondesi, where he's going, and will he ever rejoin the Boston Red Sox. But before we get into that, for those of you who may not know, this channel is actually partnering with Foco.com for the 2023 season. For those of you who do not know what Foco is one of the best places to go anywhere on the internet for some of the most unique and exciting Red Sox collectibles as well as Red Sox apparel. Foco features a lot of really awesome Red Sox bobbleheads that feature retired legends such as Wade Boggs and David Ortiz. They also have bobbleheads for current players on the Boston Red Sox as well, like a big bobblehead of Rafael Devers. They've got a couple bobbleheads of Trevor Story, and they've got some of the most unique and exciting Red Sox bobbleheads in terms of collectibles on the internet. Now, a lot of these are limited edition. They're hard to come by, so if you enjoy collecting Red Sox stuff, these Foco bobbleheads are some of the best things you can collect out there because of their limited availability. If you're not into collecting bobbleheads and you want to rock some Red Sox gear, Foco also has you covered there. Foco has some of the coolest swim trunks, hoodies, joggers, and even Red Sox shoes available anywhere on the internet. So whether you like collecting Red Sox memorabilia or you love rocking Red Sox apparel, Foco, Foco.com is the place to go. And for viewers of this channel, you can get 15% off Foco merchandise site-wide by using code RedSeatRadio, all one word, RedSeatRadio at checkout. So head over to Foco.com today. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so I think the best place to start when talking about what happened to Adelberto Mondesi is at the very beginning. For those of you who do not know, over this offseason, the Red Sox traded reliever Josh Taylor to the Kansas City Royals in exchange for Adelberto Mondesi and minor leaguer Angel Pierre. Originally, the Red Sox knew that Adelberto Mondesi was still rehabbing from an ACL surgery that Mondesi got in May of 2022, but the original idea bringing Mondesi over here was that his timeline was much shorter than what we've seen so far. In fact, when the Red Sox first got Mondesi and acquired him from the Kansas City Royals, the original plan was that he was going to start either opening day or he was going to come and rejoin the Boston Red Sox pretty early on in the 2023 season. There was video of him during spring training working out and getting closer to baseball activities, and everyone within the Red Sox organization felt as though Adelberto Mondesi would have been the key piece in the absence of Trevor Story until Story returned because of his timeline. Now, unfortunately, obviously that did not work out for the Boston Red Sox, and Mondesi faced a couple of different setbacks, including soreness and issues with his knee that forced the Red Sox to put him on the 60-day IL before the season started. In fact, he was put onto the 60-day IL on 3/27. So March 27th, Adelberto Mondesi was added to the 60-day IL, and what this did was it pushed their sort of bare minimum we were going to see Mondesi from, hey, he could be ready opening day or a couple of weeks into the season, to, okay, he's not going to be ready for a couple of months. And then sort of after that, after Mondesi was put onto the 60-day IL, we kind of heard crickets about Mondesi's recovery, right? We didn't hear a whole lot between when he was put onto the 60-day IL and when the day the 60 days was up passed. The only thing we heard in that time frame was that he wasn't going to be ready at the end of his 60 days. The next real legitimate tidbit we got from the Red Sox regarding Adelberto Mondesi was towards the end of June, when Chaim Bloom actually spoke about what Adelberto Mondesi had been going through and where he was in his process. Now, the news we got in June was that Adelberto Mondesi was once again being shut down from baseball activities. According to the Boston Red Sox, apparently when Adelberto Mondesi was first placed on the 60-day IL, he stopped baseball activities altogether and continued rehabbing his knee. After that, he ramped up for a couple of weeks and then again was shut down in June. Now, there was some clarification as to why he was getting shut down so often by, once again, Chaim Bloom, who talked about what Adelberto Mondesi was going through. Now, according to Chaim Bloom, in June, Adelberto Mondesi had been shut down not because of a re-injury or an injury on top of what he was doing rehabbing from an ACL, but because Adelberto Mondesi had hit this sort of plateau where every time he tried to ramp himself up, he felt good, but once he started doing baseball activities again, he started to get soreness and stiffness in his knee that had been affected by the surgery, and he simply could not perform everyday baseball activities because of this soreness. So the plan in June was sort of push him back to step one, right? To sort of put him back to where he was when he first got onto the 60-day IL, which was stop all baseball activities and continue trying to rehab that knee to get it to a point where it doesn't feel as much soreness when he was performing baseball activities. It was around this time too where Adelberto Mondesi went from essentially staying in the FCL, which is the Florida Complex League. He was essentially down in JetBlue, rehabbing that entire time. During this time in June, he actually went up to Boston. He visited with the team and he visited with doctors in Boston to figure out what his next steps would be. Now, we never really got any true clarification as to what that meant, as to whether or not it was good news, whether it was bad news. All it meant was that Adelberto Mondesi had gone to Boston and he visited with doctors to try and figure out exactly what was going on with his knee and how he can get back to baseball activities. Again, after this announcement, after the June announcement that Adelberto Mondesi had another setback, we once again heard a lot of crickets. There wasn't a whole lot of news regarding Adelberto Mondesi's rehab over the next month or so. The next news we got from Adelberto Mondesi was actually just a couple of days ago on August 7th. That was the next time we heard really anything from Adelberto Mondesi or the Red Sox regarding his recovery. What we got on August 7th wasn't actually a press release. It wasn't actually Alex Cora or Chaim Bloom talking about Adelberto Mondesi. It came from Adelberto Mondesi himself. We got a couple of videos from Adelberto Mondesi on his Instagram that showed him taking some ground balls. It showed him in the batter's box taking live BP and actually making contact with a baseball, and it showed him running around. Now, there was never any confirmation by the team on August 7th, but it looked as though Adelberto Mondesi was resuming baseball activities, and he looked like he was getting closer and closer to being able to rejoin the Boston Red Sox. Now, at this point, when you're at August 7th in the season, when we're talking about Adelberto Mondesi rejoining the Boston Red Sox, you're probably looking somewhere in September, right? Because obviously you need to still ramp yourself up to the point where you're playing in games. At that point, it would probably be in the FCL, a couple of games there. Then you go and you join a minor league affiliate in AA or AAA, you get a couple games there, and then you end up back on the Boston Red Sox. So on August 7th, there was a little bit of hope that Adelberto Mondesi could rejoin the Boston Red Sox before the end of the season, right? Because if you're active on August 7th, there's a good chance that you'll be good to go by mid-September, early September at the earliest, right? So there was hope on August 7th, and that hope was actually confirmed about a week later when just yesterday on August 16th, there was confirmation that what we've seen on Adelberto Mondesi's Instagram was what was happening, right? Us as fans heard that Adelberto Mondesi had resumed baseball activities, and there was hope within the Red Sox organization that he could rejoin the Boston Red Sox at some point this season. It wasn't officially confirmed by the team, but it was confirmed by reporters who had sources within the Red Sox organization that there was hope for Adelberto Mondesi to come back. Now, unfortunately for us and for the Boston Red Sox, that hope was extremely short-lived because just yesterday, we got our latest update on Adelberto Mondesi from Alex Cora himself, who stated that Adelberto Mondesi was once again shut down from baseball activities. Unfortunately, it's for the exact same reason that he's been shut down 3 times now, and that's because of soreness within his knee. He simply cannot get over that plateau where you ramp up, you feel good, you start doing baseball activities a little bit, you feel good, now you start to push yourself a little bit, and that third level right there where you start to push yourself to get back into almost everyday baseball activity, Adelberto Mondesi just can't seem to get through. Now, Alex Cora didn't specifically say that, hey, he's probably not going to ever be in a Red Sox uniform, because that's probably not something the manager of a team should say, but he did acknowledged that it's going to be a bit difficult to get Adelberto Mondesi back before the end of the season. The clock was officially ticking. So while he didn't officially say that Adelberto Mondesi wasn't going to play for the Red Sox this year, he may as well have, right? Because getting shut down on August 16th, August 17th, whenever that actual article came out, is pretty much a death sentence for your 2023 season. Like we talked about on August 7th, you've got to be able to ramp yourself up. You got to get back to everyday baseball activities, doing baseball activities every single day. Then you got to go on a rehab appearance. Then you can rejoin the Boston Red Sox. That process takes about a month. So being shut down again starts you back at step 1. You can't get over step 3. So now you got to go through 1 and 2 yet again. And on top of that too, you also got to try and figure out why you can't get over this soreness, right? If you are having soreness every time you start everyday baseball activities, obviously there is something going on there. And whether or not it's on Adalberto's side and it's sort of a mental thing that he can't get over, or it's on the Red Sox side, it's something that they can't figure out, something needs to change. And I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. Basically meaning that Adelberto Mondesi will not appear in a Red Sox uniform this year. Now, it wasn't officially confirmed. It's not an official statement that he's not going to be able to play for the Red Sox this year. But again, based on timelines, based on just how long it takes to get players back from the ACL and the fact that he has to start over essentially at step 1, it's essentially what that's saying when you say he's shut down once again on August 16th. Now, for those of you who may not know, Adelberto Mondesi is actually a free agent at the end of this year. His arbitration years are up. He's free to sign with whoever he wants after the 2024 season. So there is a very legitimate possibility that we just never see Adelberto Mondesi in a Red Sox uniform. So to answer the question of what happened to Adelberto Mondesi is, it's essentially the same thing that's been happening the entire year. He simply cannot get over the soreness in his leg. So while he may not officially be a figment of the Red Sox nation's imagination and he is down there, he is rehabbing, he may as well be, right? If they can't get him back by the end of the year, it's a very, very low possibility that they're going to re-sign him in 2024 or that he's ever going to appear in a Red Sox uniform. It's very unfortunate for Mondesi, and it's very unfortunate for the Boston Red Sox. Now, what's really interesting about all of this is that this trade ended up being a wash. Josh Taylor on the Kansas City Royals did spend some time at the major league level, but he had a really high ERA over 8, and he ended up with season-ending surgery back in, I believe, June or July, right? So at the end of the day, this trade ended up being a wash, but what really happened to Adelberto Mondesi is very, very interesting to me. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of all this? What do you think of what happened to Adelberto Mondesi? What do you think of the trade? And what do you think of Adelberto Mondesi essentially being a figment of our imagination? Let me know all your thoughts on Adelberto Mondesi in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Don't forget to head over to Foco and use my code RedSeatRadio to get yourself 15% off site-wide, and I will see you in the red seats.